Lesson 62, complex roots of quadratic equations. In these types of problems, we're working with complex roots, which means we're dealing with, we're going to be dealing with negative square roots. Keep in mind that a negative square root is an imaginary number, and so we're going to replace it with an I. And that's the only difference between solving regular quadratic equations and complex roots, is that we're going to end up with a negative root, and so we need to replace that with an I. Right? So keep in mind, a negative square root is replaced with an I. We're only going to work one of these examples together, and then I'm going to have you do a few on your own. We're still solving completing the square the same way that we have been previously. All right, so our first one, 3x squared minus x plus 5 equals 0. We still complete the square the same way. We need to get rid of our leading coefficient. All right, so our leading coefficient is 3. In order to get rid of that, we're going to divide every term by 3. So I get x squared minus 1/3 x. And I'm going to go ahead and move this 5/3 to the other side of my equal sign. Okay, it's going to equal 5/3. Now, in order to actually complete the square, we need to take our middle term, and we need to divide by 2. And then we're going to square that. Once we get our squared term, we're going to add it to both sides of our equation. All right, now we're going to factor. When I factor x squared minus 1/3 x plus 1/36, I'm going to get x minus 1/6, and that whole thing is squared. Now, I have negative 5/3 because I subtracted when I moved it over, plus 1/36. All right, we need a common denominator. It's going to be 36. Our new numerator here is going to be 60. So we have negative 60 plus 1, which is going to give me negative 59 over 36. You'll already notice that we have a negative on the right side of the equal sign. This has not happened before. We're still solving for x, so we want to take the square root of both sides like we normally do. We get x minus 1/6 equals the square root of negative 59 over 36. And we're going to add 1/6 to both sides. So you get x equals 1/6 plus or minus the square root of negative 59 over 6, because the square root of 36 is 6. Now notice, we have a negative square root. Okay? Right here in this term. Keep in mind that a negative square root is replaced with an I. So this answer is actually going to be x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 59I all over 6. So we're replacing that negative with an I. Everything else in completing the square remains the same. I'm going to write 2 more examples. I want you to go ahead and solve both of these on your own, and we will check them in class. The first is 5x squared minus 2x equals negative 3. And the second one is 5x squared minus x plus 3 equals 0. Go ahead and solve both of those, and we will check them in class.